Hey there, once again, this is Matt Feury from Avid here at Sundance 2020 with another cool person for you to meet, and that is editor Mindy Elliott. Mindy is here with her film, The Last Shift. Mindy, tell us a little bit about the film.
The Last Shift is a comedy. It's about Stanley, who is a fast food worker. He's been working at Oscar's Chicken and Fish for a good 38 years, and he is about to retire to move to Florida to take care of his mother, his ailing, aging mother. And before he can retire, he has to train his replacement. And that's where the comedy ensues. His replacement is Javon, and he questions Stanley in some interesting ways.
Okay, you've got me hooked already. We were talking earlier about just how people sort of just seem to know each other here at Sundance, and one of the things I always want to know is like, how did you become attached to the film?
Um, I got an email from Albert Berger's office. Albert Berger is one of our producers, wonderful producer on The Last Shift. And I met Albert while assisting Kevin Tent on Alexander Payne's Nebraska.
That's not a bad film to be working on. Okay, so let's, if you wouldn't mind, let's talk a little bit about your role as when you're doing assisting and really managing the cutting room. Because when I ask editors, what does the assistant really do? They always just go, oh, they manage everything. So when you're, for example, Kevin, when you're working with Kevin, how do you manage the cutting room for Kevin?
I make sure that Kevin has whatever he needs in the project whenever he needs it. So I want to think that I make available, whenever he asks, where's such and such, or can you find such and such, I produce it for him.
And when you're working as an editor, how is it different? Do you do anything differently? Do you like your assistants to work in a different way or set things up for you differently than you might for another editor?
Well, it's interesting you should ask me that because as an editor, I've been working on smaller projects than I work on when I'm assisting Kevin. So I think one of the strengths that I bring to the editing room is that I have been an assistant editor, so I can think 2 steps ahead of myself. Like, what would Kevin be asking for? And maybe I should be asking that for myself at this point, yeah.
And a lot of what you've done, as we've discussed, are comedies. And a common refrain I hear from editors on big movies, small movies is, oh, I don't know if I could cut comedy. That's really scary. That's a hard thing to do. What is it that's so challenging about cutting comedy, and what is it you love about cutting comedy?
What I love about cutting comedy is that when you find the moment, when you find the laugh, it is a great feeling. It's like no other feeling, and that is the scary and hard part of it: is being patient and knowing that you will find the laugh and not being afraid to try all kinds of approaches to get there.
Let's talk a little bit about the post-production and production, I guess, aspects of Last Shift. Just a general overview of your setup and how you worked.
Mm-hmm. Well, on this one, I worked on my own system, and I traded off between my standalone Avid system at home, which we did move to a WeWork space in Pasadena, and but then I also worked off of my laptop. So my Avid system that I have on my laptop, on a hard drive that I would consistently back up. And I did have a wonderful assistant, Anisha, during production. So she managed all the dailies for me. She did do the transcoding and stuff like that of the dailies. But what I did for myself on this film, which I always do as an assistant, is I do my own scripting. So I manually load the script in, import the script in, and I use Avid's script tool to manually make marks on the script. And that's something I learned from Kevin. But that helps in cutting comedy for sure.
So what is it about that feature that it makes it worth the time for you to put in to do that? Like, what are the benefits of working that way?
The benefits are that you can find anything at the drop of a hat. You get to know your dailies really, really well because you're scripting them and you're listening to them over and over. And if you're trying to find just that right comic beat, that right piece of rhythm, that right groove for a particular moment, you can go into the script and listen to those moments one right after the other and find what is working with your tempo.
So it sounds like everything worked really well in this film. I'm excited to see it. The film is called The Last Shift. Mindy, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So there you have it. Mindy Elliott, editor of The Last Shift. Just another great story that we have for you here at Sundance 2020. Stay tuned to the Avid social channels for more just like this.